Hi, we're continuing with cell biology and life science in a nutshell. We were learning about waxes, which are lipids that plants and animals contain, used for protection, usually from water, preventing water due to their hydrophobic nature. So, natural waxes are typically esters of fatty acids and long chain alcohols. Combination. So, this is what it looks like as an example. So, long chain hydrocarbons on either side. Excuse me. And you have the ester bond right here, carbon, double bond oxygen, single bond oxygen. And so they are a long chain, a nonpolar lipid. They may contain functional groups, um, especially waxes of plants, um, groups such as alkanes, alcohols, diols, ketones, and aldehydes, as well as fatty acids. So, as we went over earlier, um, there's wax that bees make, as well as in whales' heads, there's wax as well. So waxes are for protective purposes, again, contained by animals and plants. Key terms: paraffin wax is a waxy white solid hydrocarbon mixture used to make candles, wax paper, lubricants, and sealing materials. Polyethylene is a polymer consisting of many monomers, hence it's a polymer, bonded together, used for kitchenware and containers, etc. So the coating of waxes controls evaporation and hydration, prevents animals and plants from drying out. Therefore, they're valuable for this reason of water resistance due to their hydrophobic nature, waxes in plants and animals. They are natural as well as synthetic. In the next section, we are reviewing steroid summary. So, steroids, for example, cholesterol, these are related to lipids as well. They play a role, steroids do, in reproduction, absorption, metabolism, regulation, and brain activity. Steroids are lipids because they are hydrophobic and insoluble in water, but they do not resemble lipids exactly since they have a structure composed of four fused rings. We learned about them earlier. So, cholesterol is the most common steroid and is precursor to vitamin D, as well as testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, aldosterone, cortisol, bile salts, etc. Cholesterol is a component of the phospholipid bilayer, as we learned about previously, and plays a role in the structure and function of membranes. Steroids are found in the brain and alter electrical activity in the brain because they can tone down receptors that communicate messages from neurotransmitters. Steroids are often used in anesthetic medicines. So, key terms: Neurotransmitters, any substance such as acetylcholine or dopamine responsible for sending nerve signals across the synapse between two neurons. So across the channel between two cells in the nervous system. So this is how nerve cells communicate and interact and send signals between the cells. Osmoregulation is the homeostatic. So homeostatic means keeping the same or consistent regulation of osmotic pressure or concentration levels of solutes or certain molecules in the body in order to maintain a constant content of water and the content of the water to be constant and remain the same and not vary too dramatically, stay normal. That's osmoregulation, controlling concentrations of solutes in water. So hormones, any substances produced by one tissue and conveyed by the bloodstream to another to affect physiological activity. So these are like steroids molecules. Unlike phospholipids and fats, steroids have a fused ring structure shown here. Although they do not resemble the other lipids, they are grouped with them because they are hydrophobic and insoluble in water. All steroids have four linked carbon rings. Many of them, like cholesterol, have a short tail, like shown here. So 3 6 carbon rings, 1 5 carbon ring. Many steroids also have the OH hydroxyl functional group on the end of the four rings. These steroids are classified as alcohols called sterols. So cholesterol and cortisol are shown here. They both have four fused rings as shown in the diagrams. Cholesterol is the most common steroid, is mainly synthesized in the liver, a precursor to vitamin D, and many other important steroid hormones like estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, which are secreted by the gonads and endocrine glands. They control development, reproduction, and cell-to-cell communication, etc. So again, steroids play important roles in the body's systems of reproduction and development. They play a role also in synthesizing hormone called aldosterone, which is a steroid hormone used for osmoregulation, and cortisol, which plays a role in metabolism. Cholesterol is also the precursor to bile salts, which help in the emulsification of fats and their absorption by cells. Again, cholesterol helps in the emulsification of fats, absorption of by the cells of fats, and it is a component of the plasma membrane of animal cells and the phospholipid bilayer. Being the outermost structure in animal cells, the plasma membrane is responsible for the transport of materials and cellular recognition and is involved in cell-to-cell communication. Steroids play an important role in the structure and function of membranes, therefore. So, cholesterol plays a role in synthesizing aldosterone, used for osmoregulation, cortisol, a role in metabolism. We'll see you in the next